And thank you for making only one disparaging comment about insurance, which was a bit below par. Let me ask a bit about what you had in mind about this new agency. At first, when I saw that, I thought, oh no, another bureaucracy. This can't be the answer. And then I thought, well, what he's looking for is a source of capital. Maybe he's looking for somebody that would give grants that would facilitate research in this area. But then I heard you say that we don't need more money, we need leadership.
You need a podium.
So talk with me a little bit more about what role, let's forget the agency per se, and talk about the role of the government, whether it's an existing, setting up a new agency. Everyone in the existing agencies is going to attack that. So let's just not take the bait on that.
And if we want the person to be found dead on the street, we could make it an interagency agreement.
Right. So what is the role of government here, and what is the role of the private sector? If there was more capital available, would the penetration in the marketplace of these devices be greater? Would there be more and better and safer, more effective devices, et cetera? How do you see those?
I think the strongest role of government, and this may get ideological and we can talk about it offline, the strongest role for government in my mind is that of agenda setter. And I need an agency or agency head or something out there to be a podium pounder to actually get the attention of major companies, not the small guys. I mean, the small guys are where the innovation comes from, but distribution and getting the prices down and making it part of your reality is from the large corporations. And right now I'm thinking of an agency that is outside the current aging and disability community. I was thinking about this with some degree of urgency. Would I put it over an HHS? And the trouble is they're too big to begin with, and they're going to get lost. And God love agency on administration on aging, but they're captured by their own legislation, as every agency is. Thought about commerce, but commerce has got too many people pounding podiums, but not enough resources. We need a leader who's passionate, who's got the knowledge, to act as a convener to bring business, government, and the research community together with just enough money not to do major fresh research. Let NIA continue to do that. But, we were talking about maybe demonstration programs would be great, events like this. But, I'll give an example. I'm looking at the room here. I hope I'm wrong. I'm not picking favorites. But I don't see Johnson & Johnson here. I don't see Procter & Gamble. I don't see Samsung. And until you can get that kind of attention, it's a great project and it's a great thesis, but it's not helping anybody.
So questions for Joe? Yes, Lisa?
And even though you did say something somewhat disparaging about where I am, I'm at Harvard Medical School. That was an absolutely fabulous talk, and thank you for that. Let me just ask you about the Apple Store example, because Apple makes products, and they ostensibly have features that everybody loves that helps people with disabilities, like think about Siri and voice to text, which is very helpful for people who can no longer type. And they talk about it as accessibility features for people with disabilities, but they don't necessarily go out along the continuum to the most severe type of disability. So let me just give you an example. I have a dear friend who has primary progressive MS, and in the last 4 months has literally lost the one residual strength that he had, which was his index finger on his right hand. When he gets a phone call on his iPhone, he can no longer swipe the iPhone to answer it. Yep. Where does he go to get a way to answer his iPhone? He lives near Princeton, and I've said, Michael, let's have a contest for Princeton undergraduates. Let's see whether we can find an undergraduate who can help him figure out how to swipe his iPhone. Because I can't call him anymore in the evening because he cannot answer that iPhone. So how do we get companies like Apple to think about going along the continuum to the very end, not just to stop with disability features that might help the majority of people with disabilities, but really gets to the point where it helps everybody?
I think it's largely a systems problem. First, you've got to get on their agenda to show that there's a business case there. I mean, they are a business, to make it, there's a business case of enough people there. But the way to also do that is what I was pointing out is that there's no community-based voice or network out there. for enough people to start going to Apple and say, by the way, my agency represents, I don't know, Middlesex County in Massachusetts, and we've got 200 people that need X. Can you help us find a way to do this? Or frankly, get some sort of shareware program to be able to do something online that Apple sanctions and puts it up on, iTunes or whatever it might be. But absolutely, you need to go to that extreme. But that's what I meant by that. We need somebody, we need an agency or a charismatic leader to be a articulate voice. It's not that Apple's ignoring it. They just can't hear you.
Thank you. Other comments? Yes, please.
My name is Judy Brewer, also from MIT, and I'll be talking in the afternoon a little bit about web accessibility. I'm not sure that that's not already covered somehow. One of the things that we develop is web accessibility guidelines, which covers the mobile environment. And some of that is interoperability, and so there's sometimes built-in accessibility, there's sometimes interoperability with other devices. But I'm interested in looking at that particular thing and seeing if there's not already some combination that would work on that. And to the extent that there isn't, I would say getting the marketplace voice, as Joe is saying, is very important. But also going through standards organizations that are already working on accessibility and making sure those are built into the requirements. We've got Apple participating in our working groups, including looking at the mobile accessibility requirements. And so there may be a direct channel through some of those routes as well. I'd be interested to talk with you later on that.
Anyone else? Very good.
Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.